Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Good Advice Podcast, and you've come to the right place to learn how to do business better. On the show today, we got Paul Graham, who's the owner of Wishlist Travel. He is an incredible business owner. He's been in business for quite a while and has a long history, even before Wishlist Travel, of sales and understanding marketing. And this is somebody who really, truly understands business, which is why I'm so excited to bring you his story today. I think I got a little choked up on the story today. Paul's an incredible guy. He's doing business for the right reasons and is absolutely someone you want to check out for your next vacation. Hey, before we dive in, here's a word from one of the businesses that sponsored today's episode. Check out this quick ad and we'll be back soon. Do you ever feel like your payment processor is robbing you blind? For some of us, it's not blind. We look at the amount of money that's going to our payment processor month after month, and a lot of times we ask ourselves, is there a better way? I'm making good money, yet so much of it isn't actually ending up in my pocket. In the world of payment processing, in many cases, it's a cashless world, so you have to have a payment processor you can really trust. I personally am a big fan of Brad Norwood, who's the owner of PrimePaymentsUSA.com. Brad's a business owner himself. He knows all the challenges that come with running a business. More importantly, he knows the value of an individual customer. See, some of these bigger businesses, they're all about scale. They're all about bringing in as many customers as possible. But do they know your name? Do they know your business? Do they know what's important to you? In many cases, the answer is no. And in worst cases, they're just looking to get as much money from every transaction that you work hard for, which really doesn't feel too good. So you got to reach out to Brad Norwood today and understand how he's doing business and why it can save you money month after month. More importantly, you might even ask him about his zero-fee payment processing that he's offering to a select few of people. Go to PrimePaymentsUSA.com and start putting the money that you worked hard for back into your pocket. Paul, great to have you on the show today, man.
I'm excited. I listen to your show every week. I love your guest, and I'm still trying to figure out why you invited me on.
You're a great guy and an awesome networker, and you seem like you run a great business. So I'm actually surprised you haven't come on sooner. I think we had a little bit of a funny moment where I was like, You've come on the show before, and you were like, no, I haven't. And then I was like, I'm certain you have. And you were like, no, I haven't. And I was like, what am I thinking of? So
I think it's one of those things where we run into each other so often that we have great conversations, and we just thought one was on the podcast.
Yeah. And that certainly is probably the case. For the listeners, who are you? Tell me a little bit about Wishlist Travel. Just a little bit about the business.
Well, my name's Paul Graham, a certified travel associate. That's a big deal. That's like having your master's degree in travel. It's issued by the Travel Institute, which is formed in the 60s of the largest travel companies in the world to train travel professionals. Wishlist Travel started about 7 years ago, March of 2018, as an independent agency that's hosted with a host, just to try to give better customer service than I was receiving, and to have a job in case my day job ended, because I work in a situation where I can be fired at any time on any election cycle.
Because you work for the state.
I work for the state.
Yes, right. For anyone who's wondering, like, how maybe cryptic, why could he be fired at any time? Yeah, it's driven by elections. You're totally right. I didn't realize we started our businesses in the same year, because I started in October. You just had 7 years in March. What day in March?
March 1st.
March 1st. Okay.
I actually sold my very first cruise to a gentleman, and I had no clue what I was doing.
Yeah, I think back to the early days and kind of cringe of like, oh man, that person paid me money, and who knows the quality that they got. But you learn so much, and you learn it so quickly. And you have a number of certifications too, also.
I do. I'm a certified travel associate. I also have my certified cruise counselor, which is done by CLIA. And then the one I'm probably most proud of is I'm a certified autism travel professional. In the state of Arkansas, there's last time I looked, there was 5 CTAs, 9 certified cruise counselors, and 2 certified autism travel professionals. And I was the only one that had more than one of those.
And you have all 3.
And I have all 3.
Yeah. Which has to be freeing for your customers who have an autistic child to know that, hey, you can still vacation and have a great time. And certainly I'm sure it's relieving to be able to talk to you and have some insights on, how do we make this as doable as possible? Excuse me.
Well, a lot of people in that situation with family members on the spectrum, they choose not to vacation because they don't know that they can. They don't know there's programs out there for them. And they just want to survive. And I want to help. I believe everyone deserves a vacation.
Yeah. What a great tagline, too. So you started in 2018. I'm just kind of laughing because, I'm sure there was probably, you get a couple years into business, you're like, okay, yeah, I see where this is kind of cool. And then COVID happens, shuts down the travel industry completely. What was life like in 2020?
Well, I was driving down to Little Rock to resign my job on March 13th of 2020.
Wow.
I get to Conway and my phone is blowing up from all the cancellations.
March 13th, yeah.
So
that was, I'm just thinking about dating. My daughter was born on the 11th. The 12th is where my contracts got canceled. So yeah, 12th, 13th, 14th. Those 3-4 days were just kind of crazy.
And spring break was the next day. Was starting that Friday. And this was a Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember the exact day. But I called my wife and I said, I don't think I'm going to resign today. She goes, go ahead. It's only going to last 2 weeks. A year and a half later, I wrote my next cruise.
What were you thinking during that time? Were you thinking is my business dead? What were you processing?
Well, I was fortunate that I had the state job, so I didn't have to. Didn't have to have that conversation.
Yeah.
About ASTA, which is the professional organization for travel advisors on the national level, estimated that 77% of all travel agencies were going to close during that time period.
Jeez.
And so what I decided to do is, I'm new in the industry, relatively 2 years. I took the time to work on all my certifications. During that time, I got 77 different destinations, tourist boards certifications. So I spent a lot, instead of worrying about what I couldn't control, I took charge of what I could control and used that time to get my certifications and improve myself professionally.
Which is smart, because I think there was so much panic during that time. You were really playing the long game of realizing, hey, eventually people will vacation again. Even though there was some point around the 5 or 6 month mark where I was like, are we ever leaving our house again? What is this? What's going to happen? So I like that you were thinking, long term, it'd be good to have these things shored up.
Well, one of the things I learned afterwards is there's over 100,000 travel advisors in North America. Between Canada, Mexico, and the United States.
Is that post-COVID or?
That's currently.
Oh, wow. Okay. So there are probably a lot more even before COVID.
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing that I found interesting is during that time period, I got my certified travel associates, but I'm one of 1,700 in the country. Last time I looked, it may be up to 1,800 now because of recent graduates. So less than 2% of the individuals during that time period took time to work on themselves and their business to make themselves more educated and be able to serve our clients better.
So, and you also, I'm just thinking about, not just COVID, but you're also running a business in an industry that continues to become more and more self-oriented, I guess. People who can click a few buttons and try to find their destination or their vacation, or everyone listening. I have major dad brain today, so I can't even think of one of the URLs right now.
Expedia?
Expedia, thank you. I'm like, I can't even, like, I was thinking about someone's name that I knew earlier, and I was like, I know this person, and I can't even think of her name. Yeah, it's Expedia's been around for, I guess, 10, 15 years now. So people have always, I say always, in the last decade, they've had options to do it themselves. How has it felt to run a business that has, I don't say if resistance is the right word, but like frictions of global economy, conversation today about inflation. There's some questions or comments around like, are people vacationing more or less today than 10 years ago? I don't know the answer to that. You probably do. And then also a tribe of people who are planning vacations themselves, doing it themselves. Where does wish list travel fit in all that? How do you think about that kind of stuff? Or do you kind of just like, I can't control it? I mean, what's kind of your approach to it all?
Well, I think it sums it up. I have one story that I think sums up my opinion of it. I had a vendor that I used to do business with. I would spend $400 or $500 a month with this vendor. And I walked into their store and he was bragging about how he got a great deal on Expedia and that I couldn't match it. And I was like, how do you know I couldn't match it? You didn't even let me quote it.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. So I looked at it. It was Expedia, which Expedia has an arm that travel advisors can use.
Oh.
So we can get the same exact pricing as you can get.
Very smart on Expedia's side, by the way, of realizing, hey, this can actually be in tandem with travel advisors.
Exactly.
Or associates.
And, well, needless to say, I don't do business with him anymore because he didn't even give me the chance. Yeah, and I understand money's important. That's one of the reasons why I don't charge fees, while a lot of individuals do. So, yes, I worry about that. But if you're going to advertise shop local, you should shop local. And that's where I try to market myself is I'm the one who's giving to your local charities. When your kid wants sell the candy bars, find me. I'm a sucker for dark chocolate with almonds in it. So probably shouldn't say that because I'll get hit more and more.
I'm not going to judge you for liking almonds in your chocolate, though I want to. So
feel free to. I got to get my protein somehow.
Yeah.
And I like to point out that local businesses are the ones who are given to local charities. One of the things I'm most proud of in my travel agency is we started a group here in Northwest Arkansas called Travel Advisors of Northwest Arkansas. And the idea was to bring business development managers from the brands into Northwest Arkansas and tell us about their products so we can better serve our clients. But for the local travel advisor, what that does is it allows us to build a more professional group of individuals who can help our clients. But outside of that, or as part of that, we have started a local luggage drive for foster children. And
yeah, I've brought some luggage to that. Yeah.
And Expedia is not doing that locally. I mean, we're in Northwest Arkansas where we have a few Fortune 500 companies that donate locally.
Yeah.
But outside of those major brands, we don't get a lot of charity from big brands in Northwest Arkansas. The majority of that comes from local small business.
Yeah, and it feels like people who run a small business really understand and appreciate shop local. Like I'm incredibly passionate over this exact conversation, and I don't have any frustration really for people who don't get it. I just know they don't get it. People who don't get it don't get it. Because you're right. I actually hadn't thought about how it's local businesses that are contributing to local charities, which is a great point. But I think some of the friction here is that sometimes small business owners, their price point is so outstandingly larger. I think about this is a really bad example because I have never found a print shop that couldn't do it I think about someone who came to the Friday group, had a print shop who I was begging her to raise her prices. I was like, your prices are way too low. But I do know
she's out of business now.
She's out of business, yeah. She's out of business, unfortunately, which is too bad because she was my favorite
I feel bad that I didn't use her more. Not that I was going to keep her business afloat, but
I used her a lot too.
yeah, I mean, she was just outstanding, and she gave so much care and attention to gifts for customers. I got to every time we do a new customer, we send a gift, and I got to do that right now. And I'm thinking about, man, who do I find to get this all done? But anyway, point being, sometimes, you have your national option that, just throwing out a number, it's $10 for whatever. And then the local option's like $45. And they're like, why aren't you shopping local? And it's like, well, your pricing model is so insane that it makes it impossible. And I think that's the friction sometimes. Like when we talk about shop local, it's $10 national, but you can get it for $15 at a local. Let's do local. But sometimes people, like, they're still figuring out their price point. They're trying to figure out, maybe they haven't figured out their supply chain, or like how to get their costs down or what have you. But all that to say, under the disclaimer of absolutely, you should shop local when you can.
Well, funny story, because I had a print shop that I use a lot, and I was referred to an online one, and I went and said, hey, I can get this here for this. And it's like, oh, I'll order it for you. And I was like, all right, bump up the cost 10%, and I'm happy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they just don't know, especially smaller new businesses.
That's great, because it's a massive win. It's a massive win for your print shop, because they effectively get a 10% markup without really having to do anything, but they get to keep your business.
Exactly. And I would rather do that than shop nationally.
Yeah.
Because what's the chances of Target using me for their travel? Right. Someone in Minnesota calling me up and saying, hey, Paul, we know you shop at Target, so I want to do business with you.
Yeah. Well, I think I do my business cards once a year from Vistaprint, and I think it's like $60 for like 1,000 cards or 4,000 cards or something. And I had a local I guess it was a print shop, but they wanted like $480. And I was like, it just doesn't make sense. Financially doesn't make sense.
And I completely understand that. But the nice thing about, in my industry, what you're going to pay at the national level is what you're going to pay through a local travel advisor. So I really don't. Yeah. I don't have that issue.
Yeah.
Like some print shops and stuff do. And that's just because of scale.
Yeah. Well, and like, who's your ideal customer? Like, who's your customer today that finds the most use from you?
I would say it's probably honeymooners and busy executives who just want to go. They want a last minute trip, but they don't want to put the 30 or 40 hours in there trying to put everything together. I would say those are probably my best customers at this point in time.
So customer, I mean, do they give you a destination, or is it even earlier than that? Like, hey, I just want to go to a beach somewhere. I just like...
I have some clients who will go, this is the hotel, this is the date, this is the room category I want.
Yeah.
And yes, they know they can book it themselves, and it probably be a little bit faster because you just pull up the little app and book it. And they book it for me for one reason. If there's something that pops up during the trip, they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to spend 8 hours on the phone with airlines to change their flights when they could be on the beach.
Yeah. So they call you and you take care of it.
Exactly. Normally I'll get a text and say, hey, this has changed. And I'm like, already working on it because I have the itinerary. And then I do get those who just say, I want to go somewhere warm in 2027. I don't know where. I don't know my budget. So we work to nail that down.
As I'm talking to you, my wife, it's so funny. I don't know where my kids learn this stuff. My 5-year-old, just the other day, she said, I want to go to Disney World. And I was like, how do you even know what Disney World is? But as I'm listening to you, I'm like, I need to reach out to Paul about, like, when would this happen? It's probably like a year or two away since we have a newborn, but.
See, in your situation, because of the age gap in your children, I would suggest a Disney cruise. Because when you go to Disney, with the age gap that you're going to have, there's different sizes of the children. So some are going to be able to ride some rides, some are going to be able to ride other rides, and some just aren't going to want to ride rides. And they're seeing it through cartoons. They see Disney does a great job of advertising.
Mhm.
Um,
Do you have a preference on the kind of customer in terms of like, Paul, send me on your way versus this hotel, this place, this room category?
I do not have a preference. I know a lot of people like to niche down and say, I'm only going to sell St. Lucia,
Okay, yeah.
or I'm only going to sell Disney.
Yeah, okay. That
I'm,
makes sense, I guess. Yeah. I could see why a travel associate would do something like that.
and I've taken the opposite approach. I feel like I'm finally able to use my college degree, which
Was it hospitality or what was it?
it was history.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Um,
This is kind of neat. Yeah. You help them with like what to do while they're there and like things like that?
yes, I love doing that. I love
Okay.
giving the suggestions, but I love the research.
Mm.
It keeps me mentally active of finding out what's local,
Mhm.
what can you do locally.
And if I remember correctly, I think you've told me you have some like a wide range of connections in a lot of different places where not only are you relying on like your research, but like you have people that you can reach out to and connect with and, for ideas or suggestions or, what have you.
I think that's the real value of having a travel advisor is we're in so many different groups and we know so many different people.
Mhm.
Like if I have a friend who's an expert on everything Norwegian cruise, they can tell you where the bolts are, I think, in the engine. That's how much of an expert they are.
In the that is so funny. The perception I also have, I can't remember if you told me this or if there was something like it, but it's kind of like when someone they go to like New York City and like a local's like, don't go to Times Square. Like, let me take you to like some actual. And I feel like in the same way, like when you're going to go to a destination, there's like the touristy spots that are like, oh, I got to go here. But it feels like some of the value from you is like, hey, you could go do that. But also, here's some other things that aren't as well traveled or well known about that are really incredible.
And I do a lot of that. But in today's society, you got to go see the tourist things just to do the little selfie in front of it and to say you've done it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to Paris and you don't go to the Colosseum, have you really been to Paris?
Yeah, good point.
But there's things to do while you're there also.
Yeah.
That's one reason why I suggest to a lot of my clients, take a guided tour.
Which I love those things, especially like the all day ones. Like I've always found those valuable.
Well, the thing is as kids, we really loved guided tours.
Mm.
We just don't think about it as a guided tour because they were field trips. So,
yeah.
And the reason I like guided tours, when I send people to Europe, they're normally going for 10 to 14 days just because of the flights. And I will tell my clients, let's take a guided tour of 7 days. You're going to see a lot. You're going to have the guide who's local and professional is going to tell you stories. And if you see a town that you like, shoot me a text, shoot me an email, and I'll book that town for you so that you can deep dive in that area a little more.
Mm.
It's a little different than what a lot of other advisors will do, but you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you want to see if you're not, if you've never been there.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever get like, this is digging into the dirt of wish list travel. Do you ever get like strange requests or maybe not strange, just things that just aren't, I'm saying not doable, but just like what are over the last 7 years, have you ever had anything like that? You're like, that's not really usual, or I can't really do that, or.
Well, I will say that I've turned down some clients who want to go to certain countries to perform certain acts that you're not allowed to perform here in the United States.
Okay. That's cryptic. Goodness.
Let's just say it's not.
I was thinking like more like, I want you to have like a wool robe ready for me when I get there. And then yours was a lot darker than I expected it.
Well, I just want to make it clear that we're not allowed to do that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But yes, I've got someone who wants roses on their bed every night that they're at the resort.
You really make that happen?
I can make that happen.
Oh man, I
When
feel
they
like
hear the price, they don't necessarily like it.
how much? That's right. How much do you really want? I love that. Yeah, because I think I would be like, that's I can send you to a flower vendor, but I like that though. I like the way that you present that though. Of yeah, we can make that happen. Here's what it'll cost.
Well, a lot of butlers will do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine. He runs a incentives travel business for like large sales teams, and he told me a story of a CEO called him for like some trip for his sales team, Hawaii or something, and then he said, "Hey, here's what I want to do. I want each." It was like a team of like 20. He was like, "I want to take a couple of days, and I want every salesperson to be able to get an hour in a helicopter to like see the island or whatever." And he was like, "Okay, let me check back on the price." Price was like $300,000, something insane. And the CEO was like, "All right, maybe we don't do that." He's like, "I can make it happen. It's just going to cost a fortune to do it."
Well,
But
I get requests like that all the time. Matter of fact, that's part of the fun of the job. I'm just, when you say that, I guess you think it's odd that we're doing that sort of stuff. I mean,
I guess I'm just so I think it's part of my personality. I'm very not that these people aren't self-sufficient. I think it's got to be like from my parents. Like I've always been slow to want to not put someone else out, and so it's rare that I share all the things that I would want like on a vacation. So I probably wouldn't even think to ask because I would like roses. I wouldn't think to ask that because I would think that's something that I need to figure out.
well, that one, just so that you know, he was proposing to his fiance, to his now fiance.
Yeah, that's a good reason. Yeah,
I mean,
I like that.
He came in and the butler had drawn a bath and there was rose petals floating on the water with candles.
Oh man, that's special. That's cool. So you've probably, it's got to feel good to know, not just that event, but there's probably been a lot of good R&R, good vacations that you've been able to be a part of.
Well, there are a lot. And can I tell you my favorite one?
Yeah.
During COVID, I had an individual call me, and cruises were incredibly cheap when it first started back up. It was a 49-year-old lady out of Cleveland, Ohio. She had $500. That's all she had. She had never been on a vacation in her entire life. And she was going to take her mother, who had never been on a vacation her entire life, who was 77 years old.
Yeah.
So I was able to arrange a cruise. They took a train ticket down there. The train ticket, funny enough, was the most expensive part of the entire trip. And I always send a follow-up asking how it went. And she followed that. I do that at 7 days, and 3 months later, I send a reminder.
Yeah.
And she called me up and she said, "I want to thank you for doing that trip," which I made $2 on. And I go, "Well, I'm glad. When are you ready to go on your next one?" She goes, "Well, I just wanted to let you know my mother passed away last week, and I will always have that memory with me."
Jeez.
And then, so that one always sticks out to me because it's not about the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating those memories.
Yeah.
And, on Saturday of this week, my wife and I were sitting watching TV. I'm looking at the phone 1 minute till close. And I've had a terrible week. People, not me putting together the itineraries, them saying no, and then you find out they book it themselves. Other travel advisors booking people into a cruise group that I have and saying, "Oh, Paul will let you go anyway because he's not I'm going to not say the word because this is going on the radio or in the podcast world."
Yeah.
And I get this phone call 1 minute before, on a Saturday night before we're closing, and we're watching one of our favorite shows that's streaming last episode, Resident Alien.
Oh, I've seen this show on Facebook. I've seen clips. Sorry. Love that actor, by the way. Anyway, I don't want to ruin your story.
And we're sitting there talking. I was like, "Is there a special occasion you're celebrating?" He goes, "My wife was just diagnosed with terminal cancer. She has 7 months to live."
Jeez.
It changes your perspective. And I've had a lot of those types of trips where people are trying to do something that they wish they'd done earlier to create those memories. And he's going to invite his adult children along because they haven't done a family vacation in 10 plus years. So if I can give some advice to every individual out there on the podcast, take 3 vacations a year. And here's how you do it. You take 1 with you and your significant other, because your relationship is the foundation of everything that you're doing. Take 1 with you and your kids to create memories for your kids. And this is the one I get the most pushback on. Take a trip with you and your buddies or you and your girlfriends. Because when something terrible happens in your life and you lose a significant other one, your family's grieving with you. Your support system is those other friends. And so many times we push them aside because we get busy with our family lives. And during that time of grieving, they're going to be there for you, but you have to have that relationship going forward.
I mean, I feel guilty. I don't think I've taken a vacation and it's got to be a decade. I mean, easy.
Well, did you know there's studies out there that show it will increase your lifespan significantly?
Yeah.
And people say, how does that happen? A lot of the leading cause of death in the world is stress and stress-related diseases.
That's why I made sure to start a business.
Exactly. There's nothing more stressful, is there?
You know.
But with that, if you take a Friday through not the next Monday, but the following Monday, your body decompresses and you tend to be more efficient when you get done with you're more efficient before the vacation because you're trying to get everything done before you leave. And then you are less stressed and you're more prepared when you come back.
Yeah. Man, this has been really good. And I loved your story about the comment on, you made $2. And that's why we do what we do. I love people like you on the podcast because these are the good people who, and there's nothing for the listeners, there's nothing wrong. In fact, make tons of money running your business. But I think there's just something different about people who create an experience like that for that woman and her mom. And probably one of the last big memories together before she passed. I mean, it's sacred. It's sacred. And, is $2 worth it for that? Yeah. So.
Well, we all serve a higher power, or at least in my ethos.
Yeah.
I would rather stand before my creator and him go, good work, my faithful servant.
Yeah.
Than, oh, you made $500,000.
Yeah. And sold your soul.
And sold your soul.
Yeah. Last question. Where's the best place to vacation?
Where you will enjoy it. Where it might be for me, I know people hate. I love Disney.
Yeah.
I've been 23 times.
Oh my goodness.
Which doesn't
Disney World.
No, Disney as a whole.
Any Disney. Okay.
Any Disney.
Yeah.
Actually, my favorite is Disneyland.
Okay. Is that LA?
That's in LA.
Yeah. Okay. Never been there. That's cool.
I love the people watching. But the thing I love the most is the bonds it helps create. As a matter of fact, all my children are adopted, as you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we adopted one who was 16 or 15, 16. And we're talking to the therapist, and the therapist said, oh, we're under court order to follow her advice because it was a contentious adoption and she had siblings. And she goes, you're going to Disney World for spring break. I'm like, I don't have the money. She goes, you're going to figure it out. And I'm like, why? She goes, because it's going to be a great bonding moment because you're going to drive down there and you're going to go to Disney. So we went to Disney, and I had to take my daughter around to see every princess in the park. Not my wife, not my other kids, me and her.
Yeah.
And we hit the final princess that we're going to see for the week. And she turns to me as we're in line. We're second in line. They just switched out princesses. And she turns to me, and she's a month from being 18 at this point. She turns to me and goes, Daddy, this is the first time I felt like a kid since I was 6 years old. And the character, let's see, it's Anna and Elsa.
Yeah.
And your kids are about that age where you're hearing that. And Elsa was walking over and she heard it and she said, are you celebrating anything? And my daughter turns and goes, yes, we're celebrating my adoption. And she just gave a look, and she goes, she held up her hands for 5 and told Anna to walk Bree over there.
Mm.
And they spent time with her, and no one does that better than Disney.
Jeez.
Creating those memories that she'll have the rest of her life.
Have you read the book Inside the Magic Kingdom?
Yes, I have.
It's a good book for anyone listening who just wants to think about customer intentionality, and that's a special story. I'm getting I don't think I've been choked up on the podcast. I don't think ever, actually. I'm sure it has something to do with, 4 hours of sleep every night because of a newborn. But Paul, this has been a truly special episode, and I admire what you do. I admire your approach to business, and I love the special moments that you're creating for people that you get to be a part of. So for everyone listening, call Paul. What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Probably go to wishlist.travel. I have a place where people can schedule a call. They can also download some free itineraries, 7-day itineraries, and read the blog. And they can actually hit the button that says start planning a vacation and start filling out the information, and I will get back to them.
I love it. Paul, thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I mean, this is a podcast I listen to every week, and I'm honored to be a guest.
Appreciate it. Hey, for our listeners, if you're a first-time listener, what the heck you waiting on? Click the subscribe or follow button so we keep bringing you good advice wherever you are. And as always, we do have a Patreon you can support the podcast on, patreon.com/goodadvice. And make sure you give Paul a call. You need a vacation. You need 3 vacations. When's your next one? Give Paul a call. I'll have his contact in the episode description down below. All that to say, that's today's good advice. We'll see you later.